There are two kinds of folks who sit around thinking about how to kill people. Psychopaths and mystery.
Here we go. We're going to do the commentary now. I just got pointed at, which means I got to start talking. My name is Nathan Fillion. With me is...
Rob Bowman.
And Andrew Marlowe.
Season 3, gentlemen.
Season 3. Season 3 was a real challenge because when we last left our characters at the end of Season 2, Beckett was about to tell Castle how much she cared about him, but Castle went off to the Hamptons with his ex-wife. And so when we introduced this show, we wanted to introduce Castle and Beckett right away and define their relationship.
And this visual metaphor is... He's lost.
He's lost.
This fulfilled one of my lifelong, what I want to do when I'm acting dreams is, some kind of gun battle in a hall of mirrors. Uh-oh.
Castle, down on the ground now!
Oh, this could go wrong.
This could go very wrong. What's going to happen?
Don't fire that weapon.
One of the reasons why we did the 3 days earlier, and we started off with that scene, is that with Castle out of the picture, we had to reintroduce him to the folks at the precinct, and we didn't want to wait and act to do that. We wanted to have everybody understand right away that Castle and Beckett were going to be in conflict, and then we figured they'd be patient enough as we did our storytelling to wait for the moment of them to collide.
It's the autumnal equinox today?
Yeah, according to Mr. Wizard there, it's the only time of year you can balance an egg.
What Castle doesn't know is that he, in breaking it off, so to speak, with Beckett, he's broken it off with the entire police station.
Well, we tried to figure out a way to... what was the complete impact of his breakup, and what he didn't think about at the moment that he walked out of the precinct was this is a family, and that Beckett's younger brothers were going to stand up for, and it was also a way for us to have fun with a difficult idea.
And also deal with the fact that Beckett plays her emotional cards very close to the vest, so she's not going to express her pining, so allowing Ryan and Esposito to express pining for Castle, they served as the emotional surrogates for Beckett.
That's deep. He's nodding. Yes.
English major.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
This could be bad. Yep.
Looks like somebody got killed.
Oh, speaking of Humpty Dumpty.
So this was a challenge for us. Whenever we deal with a dead body, oftentimes we have them on street level and our guys are looking down and the camera ends up shooting up at them. It was very important to our director, Rob Bowman, to stage this so that the head was at eye level, so our guys were all looking in a reasonable direction.
Yeah, we custom made the canopy and sized it with some of the cast so that when we shot them we could just shoot the scene once properly and not have to shoot down into a flat concrete floor or whatever and not shoot up people's noses. And I think the story momentum can build and not be broken by odd angles, and then because of the 4 different axes I've got to shoot here, can get in to see the Castle figure coming in, and Beckett can have a moment where she's excited to see him, and then she's got something she wants to say to him, and then it's not him.
One of the things we want to do is introduce the notion of Castle in his absence. So we did it in the first scene, and then we physicalized it here by bringing him in without having him there.
This little trick is inspired by a bit of the Haunted Mansion right at Disneyland, where the 3 old men just seem to keep looking at you even though they're inanimate.
Yes. Yes. Creepy.
It's kind of creepy.
The ruggedly handsome line, this is something that people say to me on the streets constantly when I meet, it only actually ever said by Castle one time in the show, but appears in the credits in the opening sequence, so...
Yeah, it appears in our saga cell, so it's become...
a catchphrase.
Associated with them,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And how does that go for you?
It actually works out really well. People have such sincerity when they deliver it. You really are. Yeah. There can be worse catchphrases.
Chloe's boyfriend Evan is here.
The first 2 bits of our show is, there's a murder, and the teasers are their own little movies, and they have to, it's a a short story had to be told very well with a lot of impact, you know, how the body's positioned and whatnot, and that has to grab the audience coming right into the beginning of the show. Then when we go to the crime scene, we want to know what the story of the crime was as best as our detectives can put together, and then who's involved and who do we have to talk to. This story to me was particularly chilling because this woman was planning to go out for a weekend getaway at the door of her loft when the door is opened and she's shot, and from thinking she's going to have a couple of days out somewhere having a good time to deciding that running out through the fourth floor window was a better option than standing there and getting shot. And I just thought that was a horrifying story, but fascinating. And there's just challenges. There's a lot of people in them. You want to get all the coverage. You want to hear what the information is. You want to see what Beckett thinks about it and what she wants to do to move forward. And they are a challenge to each one of our directors.
Now we are coming to what we find is the second crime scene.
One of the things you'll notice about Rob's directing is that he's always looking to change up the movements between scene and scene. You'll have one scene that feels a little bit static, and then it'll go into momentum, and then we'll take a breath. So he really measures out the pacing of every scene. Now here we have the introduction of Castle, creating the dramatic predicament of the show. He's been away. This is the first time Beckett's seeing him, and he's standing over a dead body holding a gun.
Whoa. Okay, guys, it's not what it looks like.
It never is. Turn around.
Of course, Ryan and Esposito take the moment as younger brothers to lean on Castle extra hard, and then Beckett gets the opportunity to put cuffs on him.
What were you thinking when she put cuffs on you? You had that really great look on your face, Nathan.
I wanted to appear like it could, somewhat guilty. So conflicted. How am I going to get out of this one? But just a kind of a, I didn't want to play innocence. Like, oh, come on, guys, seriously. I wanted there to be some semblance of it could go the wrong way.
And the boy chases girl just became not fun until we're back in here.
Yeah, hard to enjoy that moment, which you think Castle would really want to.
This interrogation scene, when Castle walked away at the end of last season, when Beckett was about to confess how she felt about him, a lot of people in the audience were really angry at him. And this scene was a way of giving them voice. It is an interrogation scene. Beckett is leaning into him, but she is also punishing him. This is her opportunity to really get back at him for how he left her in the emotional lurch.
Really? Well, then why did we find you in our victim's apartment?
Well, because she called me.
Oh, so you and Miss Santori were in a...
How could you stay mad at Castle? Really?
Were you sleeping with her?
Ooh, see? That's personal. That doesn't have anything to do with the
This
case.
whole scene walks the line between being professional and personal.
Beautiful woman.
It really is giving her permission to punish him.
You know with whom.
How should I know? I haven't seen you in months. You could have been in dozens of relationships with women since then.
Well, also you'll notice that this is the appearance of our newly redesigned interrogation room.
Thank God.
We used to have white walls, which we got bored of. It presented some challenges in terms of having separation between the characters in the foreground and the background. So we ended up painting the walls.
Logistically, you added another door.
Logistically, we added another door. The room has some odd angles to it, so we can change things around to make it appear new and do some different things in it. So we were very excited that over our hiatus we were able to address some of the design issues here.
One of the main problems was that the facial tones, Castle, Beckett, and whoever the suspect were blending too closely to the tones of the wall in the background, and so your eye tended to sort of just dance all over the screen looking for something to look at. Where now that we've gone with the deeper teal, the flesh tones separate from it, so you're just looking at the faces now.
Go ahead.
The other thing we did was we put two more 45-degree angles into the room so that the audience doesn't always have an exact sense of where you are. It allows us to turn the table, look at different walls, so it's not always the same thing. We're not always having the mirror behind Castle and Beckett if we don't want, and just room to work.
Practically speaking, another challenge being in that room, actually working, is the heat factor. You get 6 guys on 2 camera crews, a couple of lights, 3 actors. The heat builds up in that room so quickly. They've separated the wall from the ceiling at one point, so it allows heat to evacuate. We have some vents along. We have practical air conditioning vents that actually now, it is now from the hottest room on set, it is now the coldest room on set.
And when you get hot and tired, it's hard to be.
There's some stink eye from Ruby on Santiago Hudson.
That's the continuation of, okay, I can handle the fact that Ryan and Esposito are acting like, you know, the girlfriends or the younger brothers, but we didn't know even the adults would be unhappy with Castle.
Castle was telling the truth.
Yeah, he's starting to find out what kind of an uphill battle it's going to be.
You're free to go.
Well, that's it?
Bullets don't match your gun. You're off the hook.
He doesn't want to go.
And now we're back into the boy chases girl.
There isn't one, at least not for you. You're going home.
Whoa. Two victims, one of them...
And we talk to the directors in terms of staging when they're asking me, or I'm sure Andrew too, about, you know, what do we do when Castle and Beckett are walking? I said, well, the basic idea is boy chases girl, so if she's hot on the case, she should get out ahead of him, and he chases her, so we're always reminding the audience, at least physically, that he is pursuing Beckett. It's not an absolute rule, but we do like to put it in there when we can.
And now a visual metaphor, the cost of his behavior is that he's alone and face down in the ice.
I like that opportunity. It was that Beckett had dismissed him from the precinct, and then we see the Penguin knock the other one into the ice, which to me was sort of a fun metaphor for Beckett kicking Castle out of the precinct. But what happens when you knock the other one into the ice? You're left there cold and alone. And we'll come to that. But again, it's a fun, charming way to deal with the pain of the breakup.
Oh, Lord. Dad, that's awful. Who?
Susan and Molly. I love these ladies. They do great work. They bring so much. And they make, I think, Castle more forgivable. Yeah, everyone's fine.
Now, why don't I believe you?
Aren't you with Chet on Tuesdays?
Oh, that was never set in stone. Besides, Alexis is in crisis. The young man from the summer programs.
They really do dimensionalize the Castle character, as Nathan was saying. You know, if we only got a slice of him with Beckett, you could come away thinking that he's...
Unbearable.
But, you know, you see him in these scenes. You see him as sweet. You see him as a father. You see him as a son. And it really dimensionalizes him. He comes across being much more charming.
You're a shining example. Just how big a deal is this anyway?
I don't know if I even want to see him anymore.
Oh, come on. You know.
I think it also helps remind the audience how much he cares for people he loves, because he's able to be genuine to them, say things that are from the heart. And so when he goes into Beckett and becomes the sparring match, we know that what lies beneath is also somebody who can be quite gentle and sincere. And there's the lonely penguin, and there's the hard cut right to her feeling lonely.
And that's Castle's chair. So that reminds us of the emptiness, that he's not there.
No, that'd be unethical. Making the people down in Holding deal with him.
True.
Hey, well, so...
Nice bit. Good bit.
From the two murders, they're from the same gun.
The attempt was for the boys to tell Beckett that, you know, we can do it without him. Everything's going to be okay. And so they deliver case information to Beckett, but in the bad news, there's no bad news.
Yeah, they're trying to cheer her up.
Trying to cheer her up, and she eventually gets the fact that they're just trying to cheer her up and appreciates it. So then she's just able to move on, get away from the chair, back to the case.
A sculptor who live on two different sides of town and by all accounts running completely...
But it was a way of putting the family back into a typically a procedural scene.
Must intersect somehow. All right, run phones and financials. Let's see if anything pops.
And Ryan's just not as good at playing the game as Esposito is.
I'm gonna go and see Lainey and see if she's found anything.
Right!
Plan didn't go quite as expected.
Hey, Castle, back on the beach.
Yeah, looking that way. LT.
Now we had and we shot a version of this where LT, who's one of our regulars in the precinct, was also unhappy with Castle and was just going to take the coffee away from him. But I felt that by that point,
it was a dog pile at that point.
It was a dog pile. We just wanted to.
And here Castle's trying to redeem himself. He knows the way into Beckett's heart, you know, where they connect is on case stuff. And if he can work the case, he might have something to bring her. It's a way back in. He knows he should have called. He knows that, he was hanging back because he didn't know where he left the relationship. So now that he's involved in this case, he sees it as his entree back into the relationship.
Which is a good place to work, because where Beckett hides from her personal issues is in her work, and Castle's smart enough to know that. So fine, if you're not looking this way, then I'll go where you are looking.
It's a sneak attack.
It's a sneak attack, and Laney tries to bring up the personal stuff, and Beckett says, no, I need to stay on case because I don't want to think about my personal life. I don't want to think about Cass. I want to get this crime solved.
A way to a cop's heart is through her case.
A gun, yes.
Looking at the work, it could be the same type.
So oftentimes when we cast extras and our characters who end up dead, it's the actual person who's lying there on the slab, and it's cold, it's not very comfortable, and these people actually do fairly heroic duty, lying there, being still, holding their breath, while our guys work above them and treat them like they're dead bodies.
Yeah, I think on any of the crime shows that have a body on a morgue or a crime scene, their back of their heads hurt, their tailbones hurt, and the back of their feet hurt badly.
Yeah.
and it seems like a neat idea to be the dead person until you're there for a few hours and then you just want to get out of there.
Right, and you're trying not to let your eyelids flutter in any way, because every little twitch is a betrayal.
Yeah, traced back to a Todd McCutcheon. He's got priors including robbery and domestic assault.
But we have wonderful people who do great work, and like you said, sacrifice.
Another dead body, and look who's standing over it.
This is awkward.
Escalating stakes.
But she takes it the right way. What she loves about him is his flaws, but she takes this exactly right. That the only reason he's standing here against instructions is because he loves her so much that he will take the risk of punishment and ridicule, and that's exactly the way that Beckett perceives it. Which is why she's rather charmed through all this.
And wants to see how Castle's going to talk himself out of this one.
He's nothing if not consistent.
Ah, okay, I start 6'9". I start 6'9".
You star 69?
Yes, on Maya's phone. I figured it would give me her last call. Rang up McCutcheon here. I got his name
Yeah,
from his voicemail.
he's clever, man.
And then I did a web search. Tell me you're not impressed.
You went to an active crime
I remember shooting the scene, and I remember feeling that it was... I thought it was neat, if I could say that word, that Beckett understands just how much this guy likes her and how crazy in love with her he is, and that as stubborn and as steel-eyed and stone-hearted as she can appear to be, she doesn't recognize it.
You know who does a great job in this scene? Nathan Fillion.
Thank you.
Hang on.
Going through...
and I thought Nathan was good in that scene, too.
all that hesitation, trying to find traction with her. How do I phrase this? Oh no, I'm in trouble.
Is it going well? Is it going? Am I
trying to be charming?
Am I doomed?
If they were in the same 12-step program, I want to know.
How can I help?
Look, Castle, I'm sorry about your friend. I really am. But that doesn't mean that you can just show up and act like nothing has happened. The truth is if you wanted to come back, you would have already, but you didn't. So let's just face it.
I think we're getting caught watching. We should be talking.
Yeah, she's giving the no, we're not getting back together, you broke up with me speech, but in terms of the partnership. And now he's like, oh, one more chance.
A sign from the universe telling us...
So let's take it from the personal into the galactic.
Right. Grasping
it's a full moon. We
galactic
have to get back
straws.
together.
The fact that I was standing over two dead bodies is a sign.
Don't you see? Don't you get it?
Fine. I will let you join.
And she buys it.
One case, as long as you promise to do what I say when I...
She wanted him to come back. She just wanted to make sure that he worked for it.
Well,
Yeah, you want him to crawl a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little torture is always good.
We all want that.
I like that little smile at the end of the scene. It's like, oh, I got away with it.
Mm-hmm. In for now.
Castle takes his victories as small as they come. For him, a victory is a victory.
Mm-hmm.
I like that about him.
Great.
I didn't answer.
Why not?
I was mad. I thought he'd leave a message, but he didn't. So now...
So one of the things we do when we construct the stories is we try and find a story that's going on in the loft that has some resonance with what's going on in the A-plot, in the case. It could be thematic, it could be a detail, and in this, Alexis is struggling with her relationship with a guy who hasn't called, and Castle kind of is that guy for Beckett. So as Alexis struggles, it gives Castle some insight and causes him some reflection.
They're good for that. The mom and the daughter.
This is an important moment for Beckett because the coffee is symbolic of how they're doing. She gets coffee, she doesn't get coffee. And Castle knows better than to go head on into it. The coffee was enough, but it's also the way Nathan just chooses to focus right on the case. And with the, I know you don't want to talk about it, I'm okay with not talking about it. I'll take my victory from the crime scene and let's just move forward. And I'll be on a timeout. But he's disarmed Beckett by this point. But not completely, because she has a couple of pit bulls who are still going to keep him out of the yard.
To go away and never interfere with any of my cases again.
Fine. And if I win, you have to take me back as your partner.
Deal.
Castle and Beckett, they have these things all figured out before you do.
Oh, yeah.
Nah.
What are you talking about?
So Beckett's ready to accept him back on the case, but the boys aren't so sure.
So what'd you guys find?
Forensics on that blood smear the Castle found in Maya's apartment. It's a match to Todd McCutcheon's.
The CSU found some of McCutcheon's blood on Maya's shoe.
Which means that your friend was at his place either during or after the murder.
Ran down those cab receipts from her pocket. According to the taxi company, they picked her up outside McCutcheon's apartment yesterday morning, took her somewhere in the Bowery.
The Bowery?
Yeah. 20 minutes later.
The simply stated, the subtext is, we're still mad.
Don't question me.
I'm sorry, I've never seen them before.
Are you sure?
Your fiancé had a record. Is it possible he was involved in anything illegal?
Beckett's like, I didn't give you permission to talk. Don't talk. You're not there yet.
You're not that back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Short leash.
Totally legit now.
It was important to lay some of that stuff in. You know, these scenes where we get some information out and we get some sympathy for the victim and people are upset. You know, they're obligations to the genre. We have to do them. We always look for a fresh way in, so we're not doing the same scene over and over again. In this particular episode, the fresh way in was, at least in the beginning of the scene, until we got traction into it, was clocking the Castle-Beckett relationship and how Beckett was responding to him being in the room for the first time as part of the team.
Yeah, a lot of damage done at the end of season 2 here.
Yep.
So it's the question of can it be rebuilt? Can we?
Will it ever be the same?
Can love build a bridge?
Do you like cliffhangers?
Yeah.
As a fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Having to hang on all summer to find out what happened?
I love it. I love when a TV show or entertainment in general makes me feel something, be it positive, be it negative, be it happiness, be it I'm awkward, uncomfortable. If it can make me feel, it's done its job. If it can make me feel anticipation, what? It's driving me mad. Why don't they? How could you possibly? Yeah.
He was in Jersey all day yesterday shopping at Short Hills with the missus.
Wow, lucky girl.
Doesn't mean he didn't do it. Could have hired someone.
I know during the hiatus, Andrew and I had, just through living our lives or the places we went, and personally I'd heard a lot of people tell me how mad they were at Castle because he walked away from Beckett at the end of season 2. And I said, but she said, I'm with another guy intimately. Gentleman steps away. But didn't matter. They were mad at him. So I know that when I set forth to shoot this episode, I thought there needed to be enough just or unjust punishment to Castle that they sort of had their pound of flesh if he was going to come back.
Even here,
even there.
Even here, Castle hasn't yet earned his old chair back.
Yeah, I put Esposito in Castle's chair. He wasn't allowed to sit there. And then, again, okay, fine, then I'll see if I can do some casework and get these guys back.
What about Chloe Whitman?
And this is reluctant acceptance.
Which means they were all receiving money from the same source.
And spending it in the same place. Both Maya Santori and Chloe Whitman had charges on their credit card for a place called KCBC, both of them on the 9th and the 16th. Both of them small amounts, less than $20.
Same thing with McCutcheon.
I'm going to do a little shout out to the props department here. Our props are very, very accurate. When we're looking at a file from a bank statement and there's actually the dates and the charges, they're on there. And it really helps you as an actor to do the find, the search, the reading it off. You have all the information there in front of you. The props department does a really great job. Down to when we have a lot to say, they'll even type the lines in to some of those files and police reports.
They also build out those murder boards with so much we can't even shoot all the detail they have.
Yeah, a lot of hard work. And they go back and forth, too, with the murder boards. They have to track it very well, because it'll be full, and then another scene, it'll be half empty. And so they work very hard.
No report made to the IRS.
Which means that our victims were most likely involved in something.
Is there going to be a director's cut of this scene?
I do not know. Perhaps people should look for it on the DVD.
What are you talking about?
Well, his focus was a little different when we shot it. She was busy doing her due diligence, and she happened to bend over directly in front of him.
Right.
And his eyes were wandering.
And she catches him.
But she did it on purpose, but so that he would. And she's checking to see if there's that stuff working too, and it is. He minds his manners, but we mitigated it for the broadcast. But we were definitely touching on the sexuality part of the relationship.
I think that's the adult equivalent of passing a note that says, "Do you like me or like me?" It's shot and robbed kind of place. This was fun. Downtown Los Angeles. The size of the rats. Astounding. Someone lost their dog. Nope, that's not a dog.
We had a couple of grips saddle up the rats and race them. It was fun.
Yeah. Here, this was fun. These kinds of things, you just kind of go to work every day and go, yeah, look at me, everybody.
We really wanted to bring people into a completely new environment, something unexpected, something that felt like a fever dream. And Rob just outdid himself shooting this. You know, we had limited time, a lot of coverage to get. We had this wonderful woman who had done a terrific routine, and we just wanted to capture the sexuality, the sensuality of the place, the colors, and just the sense that we've entered a different world.
Kitty...
The character's name is Kitty Canary.
Played by the lovely Lisa O'Hare. Not only did we get a talented actress, but a very talented dancer. She did a lovely job. That was a great day.
She played Mary Poppins once. She wasn't a burlesque dancer. She was a professional dancer, but for Mary Poppins.
In the West End in London.
Yeah, and then we had Denise Faye come in and choreograph that routine, which I'm sure was learned in just a few days.
Lovely job. A lot of fun. Giant snakes, fire breathers, jugglers, the outfits, costumes, wardrobe, hair, makeup.
Great costumes. Like, if you look in the background, you'll see the waitresses, and they have these hats on, which are stacked champagne glasses. A really remarkable, detailed job done by our costume department here. They had a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but they did a tremendous job.
Yeah, a lot of work.
And the makeup, did we mention the makeup?
Yeah,
the makeup was
hair, makeup, incredible. And some of these girls got so dressed up and then didn't get a lot of time on camera. Well, we talked to one of them.
I didn't know the detail that was going to be painted over these people, so I went outside as they arrived in the vans and was deciding once and for all exactly what I was going to shoot. And as the people were coming out of the vans and I was seeing the makeup for the first time, I said,
There's no way.
Well, I said, I now know what I have to shoot, but there was so many of them.
So many.
And still had my page count to shoot and my story to tell, so I shot these sort of mosaic pieces of them, standing on marks and turning their heads.
It's worth going back and looking at the top of the scene for all that detail stuff. I mean, our departments did a great job with bringing these guys alive. But we do have to focus on the case, and it's easy when you're in one of these scenes with a lot of visual interest to get distracted in all of that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what we're delivering to the audience is, the fun of the case. So we have to focus on Castle and Beckett, what their dramatic drive is.
They were all there at the club?
I just want to go back to the burlesque scene. I had to shoot a burlesque scene as a woman was taking off her clothes, and on network television you can't show too much. And so there was a great deal of choreography and planning and mapping by the lighting department, including the very last move when she has theoretically taken off her top and removes the feather veil. There was a choreography to go into an absolute backlight. So just when you think you're going to get full frontal, there's no exposure. And it wasn't by accident. It was all mapped and choreographed by Bill Rowe and Jono and all those guys.
Like old school burlesque, it's all tease.
Mm-hmm.
Mailing list for people with priors. These are the ones that have popped so far.
All right, run them for any connections with our Vicks.
Right on.
What?
I've seen this guy's face.
And that's the actor who the bust was sculpted after. There you go.
It's the same guy.
I knew him.
This is, most of the shots of Castle and Beck at this point have been separate, and this was the first time in the episode, as they've got momentum on the case and working well together, that I put them in a two-shot. That's why I did that.
And what was the nature of your relationship?
I usually don't allow them to cast actors who are better looking than me, but I make a lot of exceptions. I'm forced to.
But we have yet to find one. Is that the next?
I think this guy, Ethan Erickson, gives you a run for your money.
Yeah, no, I mean, we all went a little gay that day. The girls were all very excited. The makeup department, very excited. Hair department, very excited. And very good actor.
Mr. Doyle, did Maya give you any indication?
Hey, Rob, why don't you tell me about your decision to do a roundy round in this scene?
Why don't you tell me about it?
Why don't you tell me about it?
I'll tell you guys about it.
Do you think we needed some dramatic momentum, so you just want to swing the camera around at the top of the scene?
There was a point in this case when we had built up case momentum, when the audience and the detectives are adding up pieces of information, they can feel the case moving forward quickly. We happened to land in the interrogation room when I felt that we had some new discovery and new momentum and new thrust in the case, and I could not, I did not feel like I should eliminate case momentum by just coming in and parking the camera in the interrogation room. It's not Andrew's favorite thing, but...
Well, I think the challenge of that shot in television is that you're trying to choreograph it so when the camera comes to people, they're reacting at the right moment or saying the right thing. And with the time pressures in television, it's a little bit catch as catch can. You know, I think if we were able to have the time to do the feature version of it and plot it out,
yeah,
you know, it always works. But in circumstances like this, you know, you have to pick your moments, and it ends up being elegant, but slightly less elegant than is my taste. But you know, Rob's taste is.
Well, we try to be as surgical and accurate as we can about, you know, who we're looking at when the camera's moving around, and take a couple of goes at it. But you can feel the story moving. So
yeah, you absolutely can.
I think that's the most important thing, and we'll try to hit those lines on camera as best we can. But at least the audience is leaning forward.
It could just be that I have inner ear problems and I get nauseous.
Yeah.
A very Cloverfield to me.
Mm-hmm.
If I sit too close.
I want to do a little shout out to Donna Rosenstein for finding our guest cast. We're very fortunate when it comes to guest cast, because it only takes one guy to kind of blow a show.
Yeah.
And we've had such wonderful, generous, kind, talented actors on the show, and Donna does a great job of finding great faces, great talents.
Yeah. And fast.
Fast.
Yeah. Not much time. So here's the last test.
Why would he wipe it down if he was going to hang on to it?
By this point of the scene,
To ditch it, but didn't get around to it.
Ditching it would be the first thing that he
Beckett's already figured it out.
would kill
What she's waiting for is to see if Castle can figure it out. And in her mind, if he can close the deal on this case, pardon me, she figures it out by this point. Now she's got it. If Castle can articulate the break in the case, then in her mind for now, he can come back for the next case.
Because they've made this wager. He says, if I figure it out first, I get to come back. And part of what Rob and I mapped out when we were going through the process of the script is where they were emotionally in every scene. And, you know, we know at the end of the day that Beckett actually wants him back because of her connection. But we know at the end of the day she can't admit that she wants him back. So she has to create the circumstances in which he feels like he's earned his way back in.
Yeah, you can tell she knows right there.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
And she likes the effort. She likes the diligence.
Take a look at the serial numbers of those bills.
Another shout out to our props department making very authentic counterfeit money.
That's my money. I took it out of my pocket.
Oh, you did?
No.
All your money has the same serial number? We should talk afterwards.
Whoa.
That's how these people are connected.
You're not allowed to show money in its entirety on television. Real money. It's a form of counterfeiting. It's a form of copying money. They have to be very careful about that.
Singles in order to make blank banknotes.
A procedure requiring the expertise.
Okay, so this is case-driven, verbal foreplay.
You know that they're connecting now, and you see how they're getting closer and closer in the frame, and we go into this shot where they'll both turn towards each other.
There's only one missing ingredient.
The trick here was lining up the evidence on the board so that they would naturally just progress the information together, move together.
Kiss him.
And
Kiss her.
And for our show, that's a wet kiss. And now we're trying to close the case out as the most exciting way we can.
And we posed this dramatic question at the beginning, where Beckett and Castle are on opposite sides of the coins, and they're pointing guns at each other. We've gone through the two of them being on the outs, and now they're back together again. But that dramatic question still hangs out there for the audience. They want to know how that's going to be resolved. So we resolved the case, but we know that there's still more storytelling to come.
And I wanted this to be my family portrait shot, that at the end of the story, the four of them would be back together for a single purpose, and they would look cool, they would look competent, they would look able, and that the broken hearts and hurt feelings were set aside for now.
And who better to provide it than a tattoo artist?
Beautiful location.
Yeah, it would actually used to be a ballroom that was twice as tall, and they split the room in half, so we're the upper half of the ballroom in here.
It's that incredible ceiling. John Huertas' gun kept jamming. And he loves guns. I'm going to tell you that right now. He really loves guns.
And he was good about trying to reload it. It was quick.
Yeah, he was good, but you could tell there's a little bit of... Why couldn't it be Seamus's gun that jammed?
The non-soldier. So what are you doing here, Andrew, with giving Castle a gun?
That's her full acceptance of him.
Mm-hmm.
You're back, you're with me. These scenes drove me mad because we had to digitally go in and remove all the butt cracks from the mannequins.
Yeah, we could have saved some time with some underwear. Little scarves. This was fun.
And now we're back into the storytelling from the beginning of the show. It's a little less impressionistic. We have much more of a sense of geography.
And speaking of geography, one of the things that we tried to get the audience not to focus on or add up is, okay, here's Castle and Beckett seemingly pointing each other, and then quickly we'll see what really happened. So there's four people in an alley. Only Castle and Beckett only apparently saw each other. So how did everybody get out there without not seeing the others? So we came up with that image of the four doors that was abstract, and it would just say four people moved through here. You didn't have to track who saw who going where, and I think it liberated the viewer just to enjoy the sequence and not worry about how come people didn't see each other.
A sweet deal going on. How did it all go wrong?
Todd McCutcheon.
So it's interesting. The first time we see Castle out of context, it seems like he's running and he and Beckett are in conflict. We take the journey of the episode, and at the end, we see Castle with the gun in the same circumstance, and he's trying to protect Beckett because he's going after, somebody else who's armed and dangerous.
She did a nickel for a manslaughter charge for trying to run over her boyfriend.
And vice versa, yeah. They save each other.
New boyfriend and even changed coasts. She wasn't the type of girl to let Todd take her down.
They had everything they needed. Chemical.
Bless you.
Bless me, pardon me.
Bless you, Nathan.
I'm allergic to happy endings.
But tomorrow I want you to tell me the story about how Castle got your gun.
So, I guess you won the bet.
Yeah. But look, if you don't want...
This is a really sweet moment because she's accepting him back, but he's saying, look, if you really don't want me here. And it's a nice little dance that they do. This is where they're saying they like each other without saying that they like each other.
See you tomorrow.
So, How long before Castle did you know this was about counterfeiting?
What?
One of the reasons why I wanted that line from Beckett, "See You Tomorrow," is at the end of the season 2, that episode. The last thing she says is, "See you in the fall," and it's more of a question mark. And Castle says, "See you in the fall," but it really is unresolved, and now things are back. Things are normal. We've reestablished the relationship.
What's the matter? As long as they connected.
And of course, you know, Martha, Susan Sullivan, gives us the tagline that talks about both what's going on in the loft and what was going on the A case. So enjoy the credits. These are very talented people who work hard every week to bring the show to you.
Good job, gentlemen.
Thanks, everybody.
Good job, too.
Not only on the episode, but on the commentary as well.
Thank you very much. Once again, I'm Andrew Marlowe.
Rob Bowman.
And I'm Nathan Fillion.